Welcome back. Cosatu says it wants the ANC NEC to deal more decisively with ill-disciplined members. It held a briefing earlier today following its Central Executive Committee meeting. It also says unions will continue to mobilize and prepare for anything if consensus isn't reached on the public wage negotiations. The Trade Union Federation also spoke on the vaccine rollout and its numerous logistical issues. It says government's excuses are simply unacceptable and unjustifiable. For more on the outcomes of that meeting, I'm joined via Zoom by General Secretary Bheki Ntshalintshali. Bheki, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Let me start with the ANC matters, of course, because you're part of the tripartite alliance. So you reckon you're still going to support the ANC, but you want the NEC to deal more decisively with ill-disciplined members?
Quite correct. The CC noted the development in the last NEC of the ANC where, in our view, a firm stand was taken to implement its resolution and to deal decisively with corruption, which we welcome.
Yeah. And then just in terms of people who would argue that, Cosatu has year and year gone through the same motion, criticizing the ANC, being very concerned about corruption, about some of its leaders, yet you continue that support. What do you say to them?
I think they have to understand that when you're struggling, you win some, you lose some. And when you do the proper assessment, because workers cannot be apolitical and they view all the of the political party that exists, and they see that the only one that so far remained closer to them is the African National Congress, whose members, some of them are our members too. But it's not an easy of taken for granted. It's debated all the time. And when we come to the conclusion, as they did in our previous special CEC, that for this coming election they will vote for the ANC. In this CEC, we never discussed that one because we do have a position, and the position is a position that can be only reviewed by the Congress.
Yeah, but what about accountability? I mean, of course, representing a large number of workers, there needs to be some sort of accountability to the ANC because Cosatu generally issues statements after your meeting saying that you want the ANC to consider this and that. You're fighting over a public wage increase as well, which is not going to happen. And you know that the ANC is running this government. So when do you get to a point where you say, if this is not taken seriously, we are going to reconsider our position?
It is not one item that will make us to be in alliance with the ANC. It is not about only wages. On wages, we're a trade union. We fight for wages. We don't expect some handover from a political party. They are not the union. When it comes to wages, the ANC is the employer, and we'll treat it like any other employer. We'll negotiate. If negotiations are not concluded in our favor, we'll do everything possible that needed to be done, which means the boardroom engagement, the courts if need be, or going to the streets. All those options are still open to Cosatu. But there are other issues that we need to consider in terms of what we might have achieved under the ANC leadership, which workers are not taking for granted. The right to strike, for example, the access to free education with its challenges, the question of housing. So there are many other issues who are not one-item issues that will only support a government that can give us wages. We know that is a struggle on its own. It will never be guaranteed and should not be taken for granted.
The same government is struggling with a vaccine rollout to save lives.
It's true. The question is that what we have said to government, and that's what we're going to say to the minister, is that they need to be honest with the public. Their communication should not be something that they take it for granted. They should not be thumb-sucking in terms of what is possible to be done. For an example, there is a statement attributed to the ministry that this week or 1 week they will be able to vaccinate all the remaining health workers. We think it's not possible. If they fail to vaccinate 50% within 6 weeks or so, how possible they will do it, the remaining 50% or so within a week? It's not possible. The calculation I think is misleading. That's what we want to engage with the minister and say, please, if you have nothing to say, keep quiet rather than making promises that you, at the glance, you should know is not possible.
Right.
And also to understand exactly why there are challenges and what are these challenges that they may have that they are not communicating to the public.
Yeah. All right, I guess I'm just looking for more feisty Cosatu and more challenging of the ANC and this government. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Cosatu's General Secretary, Bheki Ntshalintshali.